It's Monday, September 13th, and this is now on H&N.
The hospitalizations has fallen a little. So today's count in the hospitals, we have 404 COVID positive patients.
So with all the changes taking effect today, we'll tell you what Oahu businesses and state facilities are now requiring proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test.
The fence will go up a day or two before.
Security is on high alert around Washington ahead of a rally by people who support those arrested for the January 6th insurrection. I'm Skyler Henry on Capitol Hill with a look at the beefed up measures and the ongoing investigations.
Getting ready to go back and pack up.
Plus, we're tracking severe weather taking aim at Texas. These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for watching This Is Now on this Monday. We begin with some very important breaking news to get to. Let me pull up this image right here. Police and CrimeStoppers need your help in finding this missing child. Her name is Isabella Kalua. She was last seen asleep at her home in Waimanalo yesterday at approximately 9 p.m. Here is new video in from the scene right now of where that search is taking place. We can see air units looking. That was a helicopter, HPD helicopter, and ATV units on the ground. Isabella is 6 years old. She is 3 feet 3 inches tall. She weighs 46 pounds and has brown hair and brown eyes. She is believed to be wearing a black hoodie, black leggings, colorful socks, and Nike slides. That's all the details we have right now at this moment, but we do know the family and friends are very concerned for her safety. Anyone with any information about this should call CrimeStoppers at 955-8300. Of course, we'll stay on top of this story all afternoon long here at H&N. Let's get to some other important news, those latest numbers being reported by the state.
The State Department of Health is reporting 461 new COVID cases today. The breakdown by island shows Oahu with 311 infections, 82 on the Big Island, 32 on Maui, 27 on Kauai, and 2 people on Molokai. 7 residents were diagnosed out of state. And starting today, proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test result is required to visit most Oahu businesses and state facilities across the islands. Sammy Solina has more on what you need to know.
At places like restaurants and bars, they're going to ask you for either a negative COVID test taken within 48 hours or proof of vaccination. Same goes for gyms and other entertainment venues. 24-Hour Fitness has been busy all morning checking for those documents.
I thought it was a very smooth operation. I came Friday and they were able to insert my vaccination card into the system that day. So when I came today, all I did was my regular check-in with my phone.
This will be the first day businesses will be held to these rules. Employees will need to also prove that they've been vaccinated or they'll have to go through weekly testing. They ask the public to be patient throughout this week as they figure out the best way to implement these new rules.
And if they're dining in, then we'll ask how many people's in the party. And from there, if it's 3 people, then we'll need vaccination or a negative test for each of those people. And if they're under 12 years old, then they are exempt.
You'll see a lot of managers at the front desk. You'll see a lot of additional personnel so that we don't have that long line at the front explaining to the patrons, today's the first day. We ask your patience.
The program will be in effect for at least 60 days. Sammy Solina for This Is Now.
A lot more changes going into effect today as well. Last week, you'll remember Governor Ige announced that state facilities will also be requiring proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. The rule applies to anyone who comes into contact with a state employee. Those making deliveries or drop-offs or leaving within 10 minutes won't have to comply. State facilities subject to the order include public schools, libraries, and the Capitol building. Now keep in mind this does not apply to public school students. Facilities exempt from the order include correction centers, courts, beach parks, and other outdoor recreational areas. Airport passengers are also not included. So just a short time ago, we got an update from Governor Ige. He was speaking to the Star Advertiser's Spotlight. I'll play out a portion of that interview.
And in the last week, we've averaged 9,000 to 10,000 tests a day because people are getting tested. They're concerned they've been exposed. So to have a post-arrival testing program here in the state of Hawaii would be a huge challenge. And we don't want to take away test capacity from those who need it in our community. We are looking at whether we want to reinstate the pre-travel testing program. We have been focused on vaccinations. We see right now about a third of the travelers coming in, residents and travelers alike, are being tested, and about 2/3 are coming here with the vaccination exception.
The Valley Isle is also starting its Vaccine Pass program this week. Starting on Wednesday, social gatherings will be limited to 5 indoors and 10 outdoors. You need to show proof of vaccination to sit down at a restaurant. All eateries, bars, and gyms can only operate at 50% capacity. Bars and restaurants must now close at 10 p.m. This does not apply to drive-through or takeout. Organized sports can continue, but no spectators are allowed.
The city says its free drive-through testing at the Blaisdell is already full for today. Online registration is required. Rapid antigen and PCR tests are available at the testing site. You will need to enter the lot via Kapiolani Boulevard at the back of the arena. The site will be open Mondays through Fridays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have more information on hawaiinewsnow.com or the HNN News app.
Breaking news, a U.S. Army soldier has changed his plea to guilty for the murder of his wife on base at Schofield Barracks. Specialist Raul Hernandez Perez admitted to killing his wife, 25-year-old Selena Roth, an Army veteran. Roth's body was found in a trash can in January. We'll have much more on this still developing story on later editions of HNN.
New York City public schools returned to in-person learning this morning. The return to class for the nation's largest school district comes at a time when pediatric COVID cases are spiking in other parts of the country. Elise Preston has more.
Roughly 1 million students in the nation's largest school district returned to in-person learning Monday, leaving some parents on edge.
Nervous, scared because it's the first time my kid they go to the school.
It's scary, but we're going to work through it.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio tried to reassure parents.
Kids coming to school today all across this city are going to experience a gold standard of health and safety measures.
Masks are required in the classroom. Almost every room has at least 2 air purifiers. And while vaccines aren't mandatory for students, they are for teachers. The deadline for the first dose is September 27th, with few exceptions. The return to school in New York comes amid a nationwide spike. There are more than 750,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in kids between August 5th and early September.
About 65% of eligible New York City school students are vaccinated, and vaccines for younger children may not be far off.
You could potentially have a vaccine available to children aged 5 to 11 by Halloween if everything goes well.
And a new scientific review of data that included 2 outgoing FDA officials finds vaccines remain so effective at preventing severe disease, including the Delta variant, booster shots are not appropriate for the general population at this time. An FDA spokesperson says the views of the authors do not represent the views of the agency. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
NBC correspondent Richard Engel has made his way back into Afghanistan to show us what Kabul is like now. Here's a preview of the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Every week now it seems that Afghanistan is a new country. Things are changing here that quickly. When I was last here, the evacuation was winding down. American troops were still on the ground and they were finishing their withdrawal from this country. There was an ISIS attack, fear of more ISIS attacks. Now, the Americans are all gone. The embassy is closed. There's a Taliban flag on one of the embassy's main walls, and the Taliban are in full control. I'm going to have a report coming up on Nightly News.
Intelligence officials are warning of the potential of violence breaking out at a big rally planned this weekend in Washington, D.C. Skylar Henry is standing by with those details.
U.S. Capitol police officers responded to a suspicious vehicle outside the Democratic Party headquarters on Capitol Hill. They found a truck with swastikas and no license plate. They arrested the driver, a 44-year-old California man, when they found a bayonet and a machete inside. Security is high on Capitol Hill, ahead of a planned rally for this Saturday.
Protesters overcome the police
in support of the people arrested for storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Intelligence suggests several hundred people, including far-right extremist groups such as the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, are planning to attend. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger briefed congressional leaders from both parties Monday morning.
They gave us a good briefing. They're handling this in a very professional, thorough way, and I think they're much better prepared than things were before January 6th.
Capitol Police will be able to utilize these newly installed security cameras, which are on loan from the military. The cameras provide a 360-degree view both day and night. They're also bringing back the security fencing, which was put in place in the aftermath of the January 6th attack.
The fence will go up a day or two before, and if everything goes well, it'll come down very soon after.
Meanwhile, court cases against those charged in the assault continue. A grand jury indicted 33-year-old Landon Copeland of Utah. He's facing 11 charges, including 2 counts of assaulting police officers. He's accused of using a piece of metal fencing to attack an officer, as well as those who came to the officer's rescue. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Something we'll surely monitor as we get closer to the weekend. Let's switch gears here, guys, and turn it over to our dear friend Guy Hoggy with a look at your week's weather.
How's it on this Monday? We have nice trade wind weather today, but that does include a few windward and Mocha showers. Upstream moisture minimal, so we'll see some showers from time to time today. Now tomorrow, with this disturbance up to the north, it's going to cut off the trade wind flow. Trade winds will be lighter, and that means afternoon clouds and some afternoon showers and higher humidity levels too. That's tomorrow. But for today, we got standard trade wind weather, drier for those leeward areas with lots of sunshine expected. Those trade winds going to be running firm today from Maui all the way to Kauai. We're talking 10 to 20 miles an hour. Lighter, of course, for the corner side of the Big Island. And then those winds are really lighten up by tomorrow. So enjoy today. It's going to be gorgeous, partly cloudy skies, a little bit breezy at times, and sunset going a little bit earlier because, the summer season is winding down. Now, the surf's going to be small but fun on the south shore. A little bit of boost expected tonight as another swell moves in tonight and peaks tomorrow. So we've got the trade wind weather today, lighter winds tomorrow and Wednesday with some pop-up downpours in the afternoon hours. And then the trade winds come back in on Thursday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
All right, we got a live picture coming into the H&N Digital Center. This is from Houston. You can see those raindrops and gray skies there in this live video view. What we're monitoring here is Tropical Storm Nicholas. It's a major rainfall event and expected to bring flood threats to parts of Texas and Louisiana. It already caused a lot of flooding there in Mexico as well. It's expected to make landfall in the coming hours there on the Texas coast. We've got Jay Gray standing by with all the latest developments.
The surf and concern growing right now along the Texas Gulf Coast.
In preparation for this storm, all of our departments have been activated.
Tropical Storm Nicholas ambling along the shoreline with the potential forecasters warn of intensifying before landfall. Sandbags and barricades already in place, and emergency teams now staging across the potential strike zone.
We're going to be placing some high water assets in the Santa Fe area. Texas Task Force 1 from the state is going to be down in Galveston. We're also placing our Texar units, our sheriff's office, out in the Bayshore area.
Latanya McPherson and her 2-year-old daughter rushed to the Houston area from their home in Louisiana, damaged by Hurricane Ida. Now, they're evacuating again.
Right now, we're getting ready to go back and pack up and head back to Louisiana.
Forecasters warn the system could dump 20 inches of rain in some of the hardest hit areas over the next several days. Jay Gray, NBC News.
The University of Hawaii is seeking community input as a new master plan is being developed for the stewardship of Mauna Kea lands. Grace Lee got an update this morning on Sunrise.
Greg Chun is the executive director for the UH Hilo Center for Mauna Kea Stewardship. And he's asking for public input for the new Mauna Kea master plan. And he joins us live this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Grace. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. You know, I wanted to start off by asking you about why now? Why are you asking for public input about the future of Mauna Kea at this point?
The current master plan, which was developed in 2000, was intended to have a 20-year lifespan. So it's time for us to update and refresh the plan. In addition, this is a critical step in the overall process for the university preparing to request a new master lease from the DLNR.
Did you feel any pressure in asking to get public input because of the recent events in the last few years, because there has been so much opposition against TMT?
I think the need for public input is even greater, not just because of the situation surrounding TMT, but because, quite frankly, these are public lands, and the university, just like the state, has an obligation to hear from broad sector of the community as to their desires and wishes for how these lands are utilized.
So, in getting this kind of public input, is it possible that TMT would not get built if there's enough opposition to it? Is that a possibility?
The plan accommodates both a TMT and no TMT scenario. But I think the important thing about the plan is that under any scenario, it commits the university to reducing our footprint at the summit to no more than 9 operating astronomy facilities post-2033.
So in part of this is the decommissioning of some of the telescopes. That was part of the plan. Is that also up for discussion, or is that part moving forward?
No, that part is moving forward. We have 2 telescopes that are undergoing decommissioning, and we'll be working with the observatories over the next year and a half to discuss further decommissionings.
All right, so if I'm interested in saying, okay, here's what I think you should do with Mauna Kea, how would I give you my comment or input?
There are several different ways. You can go to UH News and it'll connect you to all the different options that we have. You can comment directly into the document. You can provide general comments. We actually have a hotline if someone would prefer to provide oral comments. And then, of course, you can send in comments via regular mail if you so choose.
And the deadline is October 26th, I believe?
That's correct.
Okay, my question for you, Greg, is in getting this public comment, I mean, there obviously is there's so much emotion and so much feeling behind this. There's so many opinions of what you should be doing with Mauna Kea. What are you going to do with this information? I mean, is it almost like a vote? Like if so many people oppose it, then you'll go that route? Or I just want to try to understand the process here.
Yeah, the public input is important because it helps us inform and shape the plan. It's not so much whether it's a vote. The state has made a commitment to astronomy on Mauna Kea, and as long as that commitment stands, some level of astronomy is going to be built into this plan. Should there be decisions about that changing or other entities taking over management, then we think the plan actually still remains quite useful to any other scenario as well.
All right, let's see what the internet is buzzing and chatting about today. And there's a lot of entertainment news to get to. First, let's talk about this. Cinderella. We've seen a lot of Cinderella movies over the years, right? Apparently, the new version, musical version, just launched in September on Amazon. I watched it as well, and now it's claiming to be one of the most watched musicals of 2021, notching 1.1 million households. I guess it really is the most watched, not trying to be. One of the stars, Billy Porter, says the film's theme of transformation is that what speaks to everyone. But online reviews and my own reviews aren't agreeing with that.
Oh no, how come?
I mean, it was a stretch. And I like myself like a remake movie. I was just telling you, I watched Cruella finally after all the talk we did about it last year. I finally watched it because it's free on Disney Plus, and it was awesome. But this remake, I don't know, the music, what it does is it takes modern music and modern pop songs and incorporates it into the Cinderella story, which is fun, but it was just the cheese factor was too much for me.
Good to know. I'll pass on that one. And speaking of movies, Disney is betting big on theaters. The company is once again giving theaters exclusivity to new film releases instead of debuting them on its streaming service. The decision is for all the movies coming out for the rest of the year. So that includes Marvel's Eternals and a remake of West Side Story. Now, Disney is still fast-tracking releases to its streaming service. Movies will be on the big screen for 45 days before they hit Disney+. The move shows Disney is optimistic about movie theater audiences. After Marvel's Shang-Chi broke Labor Day box office records, and I heard that movie was outstanding.
I heard that movie is amazing, and I am so about this return to theaters. Even just, I mean, I know we have to worry and be cautious with the COVID protocols, but I went and saw Candyman last week with a group of friends. It was the most fun movie experience I've had since Snakes on a Plane. I'm not even joking. It was terrifying, and we were the only people in the theater.
Right.
So there wasn't like a crowded theater, and they had it all spaced out. What else am I watching? Morning Show. I'm rewatching The Morning Show on Apple TV because season 2 of that is right around the corner. So much fun entertainment stuff coming out again after a lag, I feel like.
Yeah, that's on my list too. I'm kind of overwhelmed by everything that's on my to-watch list.
So
There's
many
a lot.
streaming options, right?
I know.
Just so many
so much
apps.
content.
Bleep, bleep, bleep.
Yeah.
All right, guys, speaking of, one of those big shows that launched last week on Disney Plus was the new Doogie Howser, and it has a lot of local connections. Our very own Billy V got to talk with members of the cast.
Aloha, Mr. Lim.
Is this some kind of practical joke? You know who she's like? Remember Doogie Howser? That show from the 90s? She's like a real-life Doogie Howser. That's why we call her Doogie.
I never made the connection.
Girl, why did you think we called her Doogie?
The series was shot all over Oahu. The hospital where she and her mother work is actually the UH Cancer Center. The show was created and written by Hawaii-born Courtney Kang.
I never really saw a family like mine on TV. And so it was really exciting for me to take something that I loved, like this original Doogie Howser show, and then make it my own and put some local folks in it and show Hawaii in this different light. And it's been really a joy to do.
Dr. Lahela Doogie Kamialoha, played by Peyton Elizabeth Lee, she's starred in other Disney films.
I had been to Hawaii before, a couple times on family vacations, but shooting Doogie was the most extensive period of time I was in Hawaii, and it was just incredible.
So there's lots of familiar faces, including Alex Iono. He's from Finding Ohana. Other people you may know, Kathleen Rose Perkins from another Disney Plus series, Big Shots. Local boy, Jason Scott Lee. Now, the two of them play Lahela's parents. Jason says he loves being able to work and be close to home.
And also portraying the type of character I'm portraying, you know, a local guy who has a little bit of, you know, pidgin mix of sort of the modern contemporary Hawaiian guy. And that's kind of a fun thing to do. It's a fun thing to show. And he's sensitive, and there's a vulnerability. And, you know, it's like all these kanekas, all the local guys, we all got big hearts, and we wear our emotions on our sleeve.
All right, guys, that was Billy V there. I also want to show you this live picture. Check this out. This is the Met Gala.
Love it.
Live carpet. It's unfolding right now, so look for those feeds and all those socials for all the fashion coming out of this event right now, unfolding there in New York City. That's it for This Is Now. We'll be back tomorrow.